and welcome to our new grammar lesson, verbs, objects, and subject complement. Let's start with the school's vision, which is learn today, lead tomorrow. So by the end of the session, you should be able to recognize the difference between verbs, objects, and subject complement. Of course, you know, but how to spot them in the sentence. So let's look at the direct object. The direct object follows an action verb and tells who or what receives the action of the verb. Who or what receives the action. Okay, so let's focus here on the direct object. The direct object follows an action verb. An action verb. Of course, you remember action verbs and linking verbs. So here the example is Meg gave a signal. What or who receives the action? What did she give? She gave a signal. So signal here is a direct object. Okay. Gave is an action verb first. This is an action verb, and signal is a direct object or direct object. An indirect object. Now let's look at the indirect object. Follows what? An action verb also. And so direct and indirect objects follow action verbs. Okay, but the indirect object tells to whom or to what the action of the verb is done. To whom, so that you can in your mind reread the sentence and add to before the word and see if it fits. It's going to be an indirect object. So here in the same example, Meg gave Louis a signal. Okay, so I have here two objects, Louis and signal. Which one is direct and which one is indirect? The indirect object I can add in my mind, of course, before it to. Okay, so let's read it. Meg gave a signal to Louis or Lewis. Does it fit? Meg gave a signal to Lewis. Yes. So Lewis is an indirect object. What if I want to try to with signal? For example, Meg gave Louis to a signal. Does it fit? Does it have a sense? Of course no. So Louis or Lewis is the indirect object and the signal is the direct object. Okay, the indirect object, Louis tells to whom Meg gave the signal. Note that this is very important. An indirect object comes before the direct object. Like this in the sentence, we have here a subject, a verb, an action verb, and indirect object, and then the direct object. Unless if there is two, this is something else. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Subject, verb, indirect object, and a direct object at the end. He gave his teacher an apple. So what did he give the teacher? An apple. So the apple is the direct object. To whom did he give the apple? His teacher. So his teacher is the indirect object. So let's focus now on something else, the other part of the lesson, which is what comes after the linking verb. A subject complement. Okay, it is called a subject complement. Follows a linking verb. So after the linking verb, we have a subject complement. Okay, after the linking verb, and it tells who or what the subject is or is like. Who or what the subject is. So we are describing or talking about the subject. We call this a subject complement. Okay, of course, we cannot call it an object because the verb is not an action verb, it's a linking verb. So after the linking verb, we have something that is describing the subject or is about the subject. So the example is Chadi seemed sad. We have here seemed, which is one of the 7 verbs. So can I change it with verb to be? Yes, I can. So Chadi was sad. Does it make sense? Yes. So this is a linking verb, and sad is the subject complement. We can't call sad an object because there is no action. Okay. Seemed is a linking verb and sad is a subject complement that describes Chadi. So a quick reminder, what are the linking verbs? We have the 5 verbs of to be, the forms of to be, am, is, are in the present, was and were in the past, and the other 7 verbs become, seem, appear, feel, taste, smell, and look. We don't consider any other verb as a linking verb, and we change it with verb to be. Okay, so we don't look at the verb live and say, oh, I can change it with is. No. Or am. No. Only these verbs. Todd is the captain of the team. Very well, so let's look here. Is a linking verb. So what is the verb here? It's a linking verb. I add an L here, so it's a linking verb. So I must look for a description for Todd, which is a subject. I look for a subject complement. What is the subject complement? Todd is captain or Todd is team? Of course, it's captain. And here we have also a preposition. Okay, so a captain is the subject complement, and it's certainly a noun. Okay, so is a linking verb, and the captain is a subject complement telling who Todd is. So let's see this. If the subject complement is a noun, it is a predicate noun. If it is an adjective, so it's a predicate adjective. So if the subject complement is a noun like captain, like the word captain in the previous example, we call it a predicate noun. If it is an adjective like the word sad, when we said the idea was seemed sad, sad is an adjective. So we call this complement a predicate adjective. So let's see some exercises. This is the first page from this lesson in your book. So write the subject complement in each sentence. The waves seemed rough. Of course, we're talking here about subject complement. So all the verbs in this exercise are linking verbs: seemed, felt, tastes, and was. So in the first sentence, the waves seemed rough. Rough is a subject complement for wave. The water felt cool in the July sun. Which word describes the water? It's cool. So cool is the subject complement. Ice cream tastes refreshing on a hot day at the beach. So what is the taste of the ice cream? It's refreshing. So it's refreshing, which is the subject complement. Jill was happy about her progress. So it's also happy. Okay, here circle direct object and underline any indirect object. So I forgot here, and the indirect objects are underlined. Okay, let's look at the first one. Ted visited his grandparents' village. Now, what did he visit? Here, of course, we have direct and indirect objects. We have all the verbs are action verbs. And we have here visited, and handed and taught. All are action verbs. Okay, so Ted visited his grandparents' village. What did he visit? The village. Okay, so village is direct object. Is there any indirect objects here? No. Grandparents is a possessive. It's not counted. Okay. Barb handed Dex a dry towel. So here, because what is the indirect object first? This is what we spot first. Since we have two, so we know that the first one will be the indirect and the second is going to be the direct object. Yes, so a towel or a dry towel, this is the direct object. Okay, and let's focus on that it's only towel because this is the noun. Okay, and Dex is the indirect object. Barb handed a towel to Dex, so I can change it like this in my mind and find that I can add to before Dex, so it's Dex is the indirect object. My mother, this is number 3. My mother taught me rules for safe swimming. So what did my mother teach me? Or what did your mother teach you? She taught me rules. Okay? And of course we said that the indirect object comes before the direct object. Okay, I can also think about it. My mother taught rules to me. Can add to before me, but I cannot add it before rules. My mother taught me to rules. No, it doesn't fit. Okay, so circle also the same question, direct object, and underline the indirect object. Sylvia set a new record for her team. So we have before the proposition. Before this proposition, we have a new record. Of course, new here is referred to the noun, so we should look at the noun. Sylvia set a record. So what is the direct object? Record. There is no indirect object. Sandy gave her sisters matching blue swimsuits. What did she give her sisters? She gave them swimsuits. Okay, Sandy gave swimsuits to her sisters. So her sisters is the indirect. Sorry, indirect object, and this is the direct object. So, Anne practiced the breaststroke. This is in the swimming. So what did she practice? The breaststroke. This is a clear direct object. Thanks so much. If you have any questions, post them in the discussion room. Goodbye.